And we can just dance the night away until we get no more. Shake all the hurt away so you can feel and forget who you used to be. For just tonight, could you just dance the night away?
Okay, to finish my thought, because I kind of ended it on my thought being ended inappropriately. It ended abruptly. There's the word. Not inappropriately, abruptly. So, in school, I was way more sensitive as a elementary school kid, and I didn't have as much confidence. And by the time I got into middle school and high school, I had more confidence because at that point, I was able to actually focus. Because I remember coming home from the first day of 6th grade, which is when that was the grade we started separating into different classes, where you started taking math classes, and then you'd go to your science class, and you'd leave and go to different teachers. I found out that I went to class, and I remember coming home, and I was so nervous because I had seen so many movies and TV shows, and I thought that was how high school was and middle school was, and I was freaking out. But I didn't know what to do. So I had to see my classmates in summer, and I was kind of, spring break, and I was a little worried because we just got back to the school year, It's always scary when you see them again, So I got into 6th grade, and my first day, I loved it. I fucking loved it. I was a little confused, a little lost as to where I was supposed to go, and I was so worried because they give you a little leeway in the first week or so of every year when you start a class, because when you're, especially freshmen, because they don't know where their classrooms are. It's in a different section of the school, different teachers and stuff, and that kind of thing. It was a little, they give you a little bit of break. So I was late to some of my classes, but not obsessively so. And they just kind of excused. They're like, okay, whatever, sit down, whatever. But I remember coming home that night, and after having all of this fun, I didn't fall asleep once in class. I could focus. I had notes, because they were giving us, the syllabuses and stuff. I actually paid attention, and I was so excited. So I remember coming home to my mom and being like, Mom, this is great. I love this. And my mom was like, oh, that's great. I'm glad you're happy about it. My parents were more surprised and happy when they got my first grade card in, and my grades went from D's and C's to A's and B's. My mom and dad could not believe the change around. They're like, they called the school. I think I've mentioned this before in videos. They called the school to verify. They're like, my mom was in the kitchen and looking at my thing because I showed her my first grade card, and she looks at me and she goes, that's great. I don't want to seem like I don't trust you on this, but I'm gonna call the school and see if these grades are right, out of curiosity. And I didn't get offended. I understood that up to that point I hadn't had the best grades. I tried my best. I tried so hard. I used to come home crying over my grades because I was trying so hard and it just wasn't enough, And so they called the school and verified. My mom's like, well, okay. So because they said, yeah, these are the right grades. And my mom showed my dad when he got home, and he goes, this is great. He was so excited. And my little sister, who was 2 years behind me, she was a little nervous to do middle school because she was really good in school in general. Always good in school. She was very smart. And she was worried that she wouldn't be able to handle it, so she was watching how I handled it, because if I can handle it, she can handle it, because she's a tough cookie. So when she saw that my grades were improved, and then I told her all the fun things, she was excited. She was ready for it. So when she hit middle school, she hit the ground running. And she did. She made way better grades than I did. I think she had a higher GPA than I. She was, like I said, she was brilliant. Ran like heck. But, she didn't have to worry about being scared. I also made good impressions on my teachers. So my sister didn't have to live in my shadow, because that was the other issue, too. Since my sister was 2 years younger than me, she had to live in my shadow. And it wasn't intentional, but because of my learning abilities and because of my unstable emotions, because of those, and how sad I was and miserable that I wasn't making grades and I wasn't keeping up, and I knew that, I had a mixed bag of teachers. I either had teachers be like, oh, she's so nice, or teachers be like, she's a brat. I don't like her. You know what I mean? I had a lot more teachers that didn't like me, or they didn't expect much from my sister because I wasn't very smart, and they thought that my sister wouldn't be as smart as me, which is awful. Another reason I won't put my kids in public school, because I don't want to have teachers crapping on my kids because they're judging my kids based on their siblings. That's not a fair assumption to make. Some kids are just book smart, some kids are not, and even if they're all equally smart and equally dumb, you have no right to be making judgments like that on kids based on their siblings. Crimes of the father, crimes of the sibling are the same. You cannot be blaming other kids for that. Anyways, But so when she got into high school, she didn't have to worry about that. High school and middle school, all of my teachers had positive reinforcements on me, except maybe a few of them, and the few that I didn't like me also didn't like other people. I think they just hated children. They just hated kids in general. But like I had a good rapport, and so my sister didn't have to worry, and she relaxed a great deal because she didn't have to brace herself when the teacher said, "Hey, I had your sister last year." She didn't have to brace for the "Oh God, what did my sister do?" She had to be like, "Oh, cool. How was that?" Because and then the teacher would explain how she felt about the situation, right? And like I said, I think high school and middle school was just so much easier. And so it was, because it was so much easier to do work and to get things done, I didn't feel as insecure about doing work. And so and because of that, I ended up being more emotionally stable. Because I think a lot of my problems growing up as a kid stemmed from not having the confidence to be brave enough to take chances, or to be genuinely happy via confidence and not falsehoods. Because I used to fake smiling a lot. And now as an adult, I don't do that crap anymore. I just smile and I just exist in spaces. And I don't perform for anyone like I did when I was in elementary. And don't get me wrong, I play nice in social situations. But there's a difference between playing nice and trying to fit a shoe that you're never gonna fucking fit. And I used to try and cram myself into a shoe that was too damn small. In a way. The enhancements on my staff are almost ran out. I need a potion to restore their magic. Okay, the power. They say this kind of potion isn't really a potion without this Thunder Thistle. I don't have that, so I'm sorry. There was a landslide in the mountains, and the tunnel leading to my village was blocked. How do I get home now? I need your best potion. How about you fly? I can give you a flying potion. It's very worthy. There you go. I think the only thing school really taught me, other than some basic informations, is taught me how to socially pick up on people being jerks. I find myself unable to sleep. Do you have anything that can help me with Alchemist? I need a potion with suitable additional properties. Okay. Because that was the one thing I think I noticed a lot when I got, I've had so many adults treat me like I was weird. And don't be wrong, I was technically a weird kid because I wasn't neurotypical. And I didn't know how to behave. And I also didn't understand why I had to behave the way other people wanted me to behave when there was no logical reason to be it, right? If I am dancing down the hallway and skipping my way because I'm having a good day, why do you care that that's weird? Like, why does it matter? I used to have teachers be like, you need to walk through the halls. You don't need to be skipping through the halls. And they would look at me like I committed some heinous crime. The crime of having fun and enjoying life. Oh, God. I hated it. I hated it. But, I don't think growth potions would be a healthy additional property. It could be. But, you know what I mean? It was really annoying having adults judge kids for not being neurotypical. It's like, I didn't ask you for your opinion. And that's the thing, too. When being put into public school, into public spaces with other people, and you're not neurotypical, you get judged pretty freaking harshly. And don't get me wrong, I still probably would have learned how to approach social situations and interacted with the world around me, but I didn't need all the judgmental looks from adults. My parents really hated that too. They felt judged in a lot of ways because of my neurotypical issues. Not because it was anything, not my fault, and they used to tell me that it's not my fault. But some Karens just think that they have the right to say things about other people's kids, My dad hated that when they would try and say things about that. I don't know what a suitable additional property is. I'm wondering if it needs to be more than one, which means I need one more. We'll try. If she doesn't want, this and one other, I'm gonna say no. because like I said, I don't know what a suitable property is, because she wants a sleep potion. And if she wants a healing potion, then she didn't need to bring up the sleep part. But, yeah. And like I said, I had lots of people who would judge my parents. I had a teacher who went up to my mom and dad and basically mildly accused them of taking drugs when I was a kid. Yeah, it was the weirdest thing I've ever had an adult do, and my parents didn't even let them finish the conversation. And I'm assuming they meant drugs, because I was itty bitty when they said this. I was in elementary school, so I may have misheard them. But they basically asked if anything happened when I was conceived or during my early childhood. I don't know what they were really implying. They may have just been meaning, did she get dropped on her head? Did she have a traumatic fight with a raccoon? Which would explain a lot, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because I was itty bitty. But I do know that my dad was not very happy about it, and he kept his cool, but he was really so angry about it that he made a comment saying that he basically told her she didn't have a right to be making commentary on how I had everything. She was also kind of bullying my mom, because my mom was a younger mom than some of the other parents. So my dad thought she was making judgments on them being young parents, and or that they were thinking that treating my dad and mom like they were neglectful. You know what I mean? Whatever it was not appropriate to be insinuating those things, because what ended up happening is it got back to the principal about what she said, and anytime we had parent-teacher conference after that with that teacher, that principal was present. There was somebody present. So I don't know exactly what she said, because I wasn't half listening. I just know that my dad had made comments about do not make judgments about our family and our, raising of her. There's nothing wrong with her. I remember him saying that specifically, that there's nothing wrong with her, and to imply so was rude. Like, he was very mad about it. It could have also been a safety thing, too, because my dad's very scary. I bet you anything that she probably felt like my dad was going to hurt her, which he would never do. Yeah, see, she wanted more than just the one property. My dad would never have done anything. But my dad's big and scary, and so people act like he's a weapon. Which also is why I grew up realizing that men have at a disadvantage when it comes to, like, child rearing and punishments and stuff, because people think immediately, oh, they're violent. Just because he's 6 foot tall, frowns all the time, looks like Red Foreman always, with his frown and everything. My dad wouldn't hurt nobody unless you did something to hurt somebody else. Like, he's like a big, gentle giant. But if he caught you beating a woman or a kid in public, he would say something. Because he would step in. But, he wouldn't go out of his way just to be a jerk. My dad didn't pick violence for no reason. If my dad had to throw hands, it was a serious matter. I brought some amazing mushrooms today. Want to look? If I can afford them, I hope. I could afford it, technically, but I don't want to haggle it down for that when I have the bellflowers. I decided to learn how to summon lightning, so I need a potion with similar effects to do that. I like this potion ingredients to be simple and clear. Potion shouldn't have more than 3 ingredients. I can do that. It's not bad. It's very charitable, really. But yeah, so... But because of that, a lot of my elementary school teachers treated my dad like he was dangerous. My high school teachers didn't do that, because well, that was one thing I also noticed. High school teachers are made of an entirely different breed of people. They're not scared, necessarily. They work with the parents. They were much more, collaborative with my parents and stuff. Granted, my teacher had once said, one of my teachers said, it's due to the fact that as teenagers have way more freedoms than children do, because children are very impressionable. This is both a good thing and a bad thing. It's good because it's important that these teachers are trying to protect these kids, but sometimes some of those elementary teachers overstep their boundaries, because there are so many different cultures, child rearing methods, and household traditions, and sometimes they just take that too seriously and they don't consider the issues. And, like, to be fair, he's like, he also said that the other issue is that children are very important. So, like, if you come to school just a little extra dirty sometimes, they may think you're not being taken care of, and they're overly cautious about that. Which is nice, but that also is a problem because sometimes I just fell in mud on the way to school. I did that. That happened to me one time. It was raining. It was muddy. It was raining. I fell face first into the mud because I was getting onto the bus and slipped, and I ate crap. It was funny, but I got mud all over myself before I even got to school. And then my stomach was growling because I got up late and I didn't grab breakfast, and our bus was late to school, so I didn't get breakfast. So my stomach was growling and I looked like crap, and so the teacher thought my parents hadn't fed me or hadn't bathed me in a while. And so they reported that to the principal, and they called my mom. And my mom said she left the house clean, and I told them that too. And they threatened to make a report, and my mom's like, what do you mean? And then they had to pull the records on the bus and realize the bus was late. I remember it being an issue. They were on the phone with my mom, and I was standing in the office like, y'all stupid. But I couldn't say that because I was a kid. I was looking around, they're like, so you said you were late for the bus was late, so you didn't get breakfast. Okay, really? And I'm like, yeah, because it was really early in the morning, too, by the way. So they looked at the bus record and saw that, yes, it was very late, the bus was, like, really late. And what ended up happening is, in the line of the situation, they were accusing my parents of being bad parents, only to realize, oh, it was raining this morning, and you do look like you're just covered in mud, because they wiped it off. One of the teachers walked in, the teacher who reported me for looking like I haven't been bathed and properly cared for. She was standing there mouthing off and trying to argue with me about this, and I was just like, no, I fell in mud. I just haven't had breakfast. I'm hungry, but I can manage till lunch. I'm not a baby. I can do it. Another teacher walked in, grabbed a baby wipe from her counter because she was one of the office people, walks up to me, wipes my face with it, and goes, doesn't look like day-old dirt to me. Like, it's like, because she made it seem like the dirt was sticking to me. Like, I'd come into school multiple days dirty, and not the fact that I was just dirty that day. That's also what got her in trouble, too, because other teachers and my special ed teachers vouched and said, no, she comes in clean. It's just today she's just a little dirty because of the mud. And they had sent me to the principal's office, or to the nurse's office soon after that to get changed clothes. But my mom was on the phone. I don't know what my mom said, but she wasn't exactly happy that they were insinuating that, because this teacher had a bone to pick with my parents. And what ended up happening was I ended up getting sent to the nurse to get a change of clothes, and I put those on. Those are horrible. Worse than wearing pennies in school. Like the fake jerseys they give you for sports. I hate it. Like, I'd rather wear those pennies than I would rather wear someone else's hand-me-down clothes. It's weird. It's just weird. It's not your clothes. It feels unsafe. And then they took everybody that was on that bus and they called over the intercom and said, if you would like breakfast, the lunch people are going to make you some more breakfast, before they threw it out. So me and a few other people, our entire bus, because we were that late, went over to eat breakfast, which I thought was very nice that they did that. But, so I got to eat breakfast, and then I came back to class. I was so happy about that. But they did that a few times when a bus was really, really late, and it wasn't related to, I think what ended up happening is the bus needed its tires changed. Like, it needed, 2 or 3 tires changed because as it was pulling out for the gravel, it had flat tires. And so it took them a while to rack up the bus and do that, and they had no replacement buses or drivers. And it was rainy, too, so a lot of other buses had gotten delayed. So there was, 2 other buses that also were in this room where they're just, send bus 5, 12, whatever, to the cafeteria for anyone who was on those buses that would like breakfast, I know that some of the kids that were not on those buses also got sent because one of my other classmates from a different class, or my peers from a different class, had said that they sent so-and-so to the cafeteria because he hadn't gotten breakfast because he walked to school. But the teacher winked at him and says, they won't know. Are they going to check the roster? I don't think so. So some kids got sent over there just because they missed breakfast because they walked to school because of the rain. And it was really funny. Because and I ended up seeing one of my classmates who wasn't on one of those other buses. Like, I didn't know you rode bus 12 or whatever. She goes, I don't. She goes, I just missed breakfast. And I'm like, oh, I ain't saying shit. So there were kids like that were walkers that were in there. Because it was raining so bad. It was like full on downpour and like buckets of it. Ugh. I was so mad that she got mad at me for just having a little mud on me. I decided to learn how to summon it, and there, okay, we got that. We give that to him. Sorry, I'm blabbering too much. My bad. I haven't been able to get a good night's sleep for some time. Do you have anything that can help me sleep? No more than 2 ingredients. That's all I got. It's even got a coldness to it, which makes it to where the cold side of your pillow will stay always cold. See, they also need somebody to come in here with that, too. There should be a peasant saying, I've come because my bed is too warm in the summer. Can I get a frost potion so that I can make my bed cold? Like, so I can make that pillow always cold. I need something to make my skin as strong as metal. I want a potion with the main ingredient of leaf. I like the way it smells. A strong potion will work for me. I need a week. So, you want stone skin, but you want it with leaf. Okay, you don't have a limit. Okay, I can do that. I was looking at that, I was like, do I have the strength to, do I have to be limited to the 2, or is it just the 1? It's just the 1. I can do that. Might even be able to kind of lower it a bit once I get to this pool here. Well, yeah. Maybe. Sorry, I was trying to debate, about that. I was debating on if I wanted to put that one in. I didn't even think about doing this with the thing. I probably could have done this and went the other way. I totally forgot that there's a portal here. Yeah. See, I was wondering if I could do that and get around. See, and I probably still wouldn't have been able. I was like, that one lady who wanted a potion with 2 different things, I probably still wouldn't have been able to do it. Because I have to get lower with this and come back around. I'd still have to use like 1 potion. It's crap. I think I need to do that, but we'll see. I should be able to touch it and count because it just needs to be 1. Okay, how's this? Good, good? Nice. But yeah, so I don't miss being in elementary. I feel like elementary felt more dramatic for me and painful than high school did. I can't really, there's only like a handful of things in high school that really hurt, that were horrible, and most of the time, they were very minor. They were like for instance, there were times I had crushes on boys in school, and then they'd find out, and they'd be like, ew, you have a crush on me? You're so ugly. That always hurt, but you get older, and then you're just like, who gives a crap? I'm going on a hunt. I need a potion that can help keep a wounded boar from running off. I can't stand this ingredient. Okay, so you want slow potion. That was another thing too in school. They kids are so mean when you're a teenager. Little kids are mean too, but when you're in high school and they start making fun of you because you're not attractive, and then you have to deal with people being unnecessary malicious with you. I always hated that. Don't get me wrong, just because I have a crush on somebody did not mean that I expected anything out of it. And it always irritated me when they would do the, ew, you like so-and-so? I don't care. It's not, why are you like that? It doesn't matter. Who do I like is not your problem. And on top of that, even, just because I like someone does not mean they're going to date me. There's a high potential chance they're not going to date me. Period. Leave me alone. Let me be as I am. Let me have my fantasies and my dreams and nonsense, because it doesn't hurt you that I like Ted from class whatever, right? But my other problem was, not only was it a matter of people needing to mind their own business, the other problem was that a lot of them acted like... It irritated me because I was definitely one of the people in school. Now, granted, not all teenagers are like this, and not all teenagers do this, but there was a lot of classmates I had that could not respect boundaries with a no. They didn't they didn't understand a no, and I'm not just give him a 1, I think. They didn't understand a no, and they didn't respect a no, because he doesn't say he needs any specific tier. But like whenever I had a crush on a guy, if they didn't like me back, I just acted normal. I treated them with respect. I didn't beg them for their attention. I didn't treat them any different with classwork and stuff. I might make googly eyes at them, but that was the least of it. I feel that especially with my friends, I had lots of friends that I had crushes on, but I never acted on them because they had no interest in me, and I can respect that. So it was irritating when they went, "Ew, you like so and so?" It's because, and it's like, yeah, so what? And they're like, well, they're never, And then it's even worse when the guy would turn around and be like, "You like me? Ew!" And it's like, I'm not gonna do anything. You were listening in our conversation. That happened at track one time. It was really bad. I was just talking to somebody, and they're like, "Who do you like?" Because we're just sitting chit-chatting in a line. And I'm like, "Oh, I like so-and-so." And he was like 3 people down, and someone passed it along. "I need a potion that will protect me from different damages during battle. A potion with suitable properties." Okay, so maybe muscle juice and muscle juice and poison. Let's just go with that. But like he was like 3 people down, and I was like, "Yeah, he's cool, he's cute," and that was all I said was that he was cute. I didn't say that I had like a crazy crush on him. I just said, "Yeah, he's cute," and that was it. 3 people went down the line and told him about it, and then he's like, "Ew, she likes me, that's gross." And he treated me weird for a little bit, and I was like, "Okay, like, I'm not gonna do anything. I don't know why you're acting like I'm gonna go weird Dexter's Laboratory on you." Because it's always like that, right? They always expect you, when you're in high school and stuff, they always expect you to become like the crazy obsessed anime character or the cartoon character. It's like, I ain't gonna do crap to you. I got too much to do. I got to be studying for an exam like 2 hours from now. You think I'm gonna go do something about it? No. Also, on top of that, let's be real, everyone likes it when you like it. Everyone likes it when they have a person that they get along with, that they like, that they want you to be consensually interested. But I found it really funny because he said that, and he's like, "That's so nasty, so gross, blah blah." And I'm just sitting here like standing here like that. And I'm like, why? Why are you so overly aggressive about it? He did apologize a week later, about it, because one of our other classmates had said, that his reaction was, okay, he had a crush on a different girl. All right, which is fine because the girl he had a crush on was very pretty and very sweet girl. Like, I knew, yeah, I don't blame him for for liking her and whatnot. Which is probably why he reacted the way he did, because it's like, oh no, I can't let that be my legacy. I don't know. But she found out what he said to me. She found out what he said to me, and she was like, that wasn't really nice. And it made her question whether she should date him, because she thought it was too mean. She actually ended up asking me and a few other people if we thought that he was worth taking a chance on. Because she thought that I had hurt my feelings really badly. And she brought it up to me, she goes, I want to think about seeing him, but I don't know if you felt like this was a pattern or if this was a one-off. I said, I think it's just a one-off. And I said, besides, even if it wasn't a one-off, I don't own him. I've never dated him. I wasn't going to make any attempts. And after that, he found out later, like 2 weeks into dating her, that she went to him. And she went to all of his former girlfriends and crushes and classmates that were female and asked their opinions. And she took a survey to see what it was, because she hadn't really associated with him much. She was newer to the school, and me and a bunch of girls were like, yeah, he's nice, he's, whatnot, complimented him. And I told her about the track thing, and she goes, did he ever apologize? And I'm like, no. I'm like, he's a high school boy, he doesn't gotta apologize for nothing. Just let it be. Alchemist, do you have any potions? I need for my experiments. I don't like complicated potions, so it needs to be one type of ingredient. Only sharp potions will work. Oh, you want poison. Sorry. I read poison as potion instead of it being what it is. I can do that. I can make you poison. I can make you high tier poison. Oh yeah, he wants weak. It doesn't really matter, I don't think. Actually, hold up. Do I have enough to make some growing potions? I do. Okay, cool. One, because I need it for these mushrooms since I messed it up, which is fine because someone will definitely want it. But also because I kind of need it for this as well. And we'll probably need it for these, and we'll do this. We'll just spread out our potion collect amount. But I definitely need more green and more brown mushrooms. I probably should just start making, like, 2 potions a day for the other one. Anyways, we'll do this. It's a big deal. There we go. But he came back and apologized. He said, I hadn't realized how mean it probably came off. He's like, I didn't mean it to come off as mean as it did. Alchemist, I'm stocking up on use potions for my journey. I need a lot of magic. I also need mana potions. Could you get me one? Oh, and don't give me any of your weak stuff. I only want your best. Okay, I can do that. But yeah, I don't, like I said, I told him that I didn't feel like she was being mean about it. But he apologized. But, like, high school was weird with that. Kids were, like, weird with the insults. I need some kind of explosion potion for mines. Do you have one? I like it when a potion's ingredients are simple and clear. Should have more than 3 types of ingredient. Okay. I do. I can do it within 3. I'm trying to finish the day out, see if I can get it going. But yeah, like I said, it's fun to like look back on my high school memories, but I don't miss high school. And that's the funny thing. I think I miss being young, but I don't necessarily miss being high schooler. We had that debate once. Me and my husband were talking. It's like, do we really miss being kids, or do we miss being free and just having no aches and pains? And we both have come to the conclusion that it's not about the high school experience, because being in high school and elementary school and all that stuff, you were so limited to where you were allowed to go. Like, you were only allowed, like, curfew. You were only allowed to be out with certain people, certain times. You had to do homework. It wasn't as much fun as we remember it, and we figured that much. But we figure that... Okay, did he say he needed... Yeah, he just needed 3 ingredients, which is all I'm using is 2. We figured that we miss the fact that when you're young, you're not any aches and pains, and you're carefree and stuff. I think if everyone's health was as good as when you were a kid, they would be much happier. Because I think a lot of it, our adult problems, comes down to not having the energy, not having the leg strength or arm strength for exercises, not having dreams, which I think comes down to our brains not being, like, getting enough chemicals, not enough dopamine, stuff like that. It's fascinating. There you go. You gotta stay. I had a bad case of the runs. Do you have anything to treat that? Yes. I have a healing potion. I figured he'd be the last one. That, or there's going to be a merchant behind him. One of the 2. Oh, it's the merchant! Okay, we can... Let me see if he's got anything. I brought some amazing mushrooms today. Want to have a look? Sure. Show me what you got. I don't have much money. I do have enough to probably get some stuff, but I don't want to do that. We're going to say no. Goodbye. Okay, we're going to stop right here before I get too far into it. Because I was hoping that we'd be close to the end of the day, but I did rant a lot. So, what are you going to do? Anyways, we're going to switch to the next game, which is going to be Guild Wars 1. So give me a second while I do that.
And we